Hi, Scary Recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain the movie Ritual from 2017. Beware of spoilers. The film begins with Rob, Luke, Phil, Dom, and Hutch, 5 friends who are having a conversation in a pub. They talk about their future holidays together. Rob proposes a hiking trip in Sweden, but the rest of the group dismisses his idea as stupid. They don't seem to reach an agreement about their destination, and take their discussion out on the streets. Luke, who is fond of drinking, says that he wants to get some alcohol. His friends don't approve of this, but he eventually convinces Rob to come with him to a liquor store. They enter, without knowing that the place is being robbed. Luke is scared and runs to hide, leaving Rob alone to face the robbers. Under the threat of knives, the 2 perpetrators strip Rob of all his belongings. Luke is watching the scene, unnoticed. He doesn't know what to do, and if it is a good idea to intervene or not. The robbers ask Rob to give them his wedding ring. He refuses, and they mercilessly kill him for it. Luke watches as one of his best friends dies and is devastated. From that moment on, he cannot stop wondering if by not hiding he could have saved Rob's life. 6 months later, Luke, Phil, Dom, and Hutch are hiking in Kingsleden in northern Sweden. They do this to honor Rob's memory. The trip looks promising, and it turns out good until Dom falls and injures his knee. Although he's in pain, he doesn't want them to stop on his behalf. Hutch sympathizes with him and proposes they take a shortcut through the forest. The group agrees, and they all enter the unknown to them wooded area. The path under the thick canopy is a pleasant one at first, yet the 4 friends begin to come across a series of strange and frightening sightings along the way. They see weird, otherworldly carvings on the trees and pieces of butchered elks hanging from boughs and branches. Fear creeps slowly into their hearts. Later, a heavy rain breaks out and forces them to seek shelter. They quickly find a wood cabin that looks deserted and get inside. After a short inspection of the interior, they discover even weirder and scarier things. Eerie necklaces with the same symbols carved on the trees, and a hideous shrine with what seems to be a dead human body with antlers and tree branches attached to it. Having no other option, the group decides to spend the night there in that dreaded place. During their rest, the men are having terrible nightmares. Luke lives again Rob's death and wakes up in terror, only to find himself standing outside the cabin and having these strange puncture wounds on his chest. Hutch urinates himself, and Dom calls out his wife's name. Afterwards, Luke finds Phil kneeling naked before the grotesque shrine. Terrified by this, the 4 friends abandon the cabin and try to figure out a way out of the dark forest. Luke thinks that they are being stalked by a shadowy shape that lurks behind the trees. Dom dismisses this idea as a hallucination, but Luke insists. They argue bitterly about this, and Dom openly blames Luke for Rob's death, calling him selfish and a coward. When night falls, the group of 4 men camp in the forest, and each sets up his own tent. Luke is under the strong impression that something is out there. He sleeps and dreams about the robbery again. The threatening shade draws closer and assaults Hutch, dragging him out of his tent and deeper into the forest. Luke awakes to Phil's screams, and the 3 find out that Hutch is nowhere to be found. As dawn breaks, Luke, Phil, and Dom, even though lost, continue to search for Hutch. Eventually, after a long search, they find his dead body, disemboweled and impaled on tree branches. They are terrified, but nonetheless, they bury their friend and carry on. Not long after this, the same sinister shadow that is haunting them attacks Phil and drags him away. Luke and Dom flee in panic. They discover a trail in the forest, lined on either side by torches, and pursued by the unknown beast, they follow it until they reach a cottage. They run inside, but as soon as they enter, they are knocked out by unseen hands. When they regain consciousness, they realize they are tied up in an underground room. An old woman comes to them and views the wounds on Luke's chest. She shows to him the same wounds on her chest and promptly directs 2 men to carry Dom outside. They beat him up and return him to the cellar. Dom tells Luke that he is to be sacrificed to the beast. He tells him to try to escape and save his life. The strange people of the settlement come and take Dom again. They tie him outside and leave him there. When the monster arrives, Dom thinks that he sees his wife, but instead it is the beast that has been stalking him all along. It looks like a half-deer, half-human creature with eyes that glow and a face obscured by a constant mist. It grabs Dom and kills him. A little while later, a young woman visits Luke and tells him about the creature. The thing is a Jotun, a divine entity from the past, a child of the Norse god of mischief, Loki. The people of the settlement make sacrifices to this awful creature in return for immortal life. Because of his puncture wounds, Luke has been given the privilege to choose between worshipping the Jotun or to be sacrificed to it. When left alone, Luke breaks free of his bonds and exits the cellar. He discovers a group of malnourished worshippers, and seeing what's in stock for him, he sets them ablaze. As a result, the cabin is engulfed in flames, and the Jotun comes again. Luke fights with some of the townsfolk and manages to get out of the cottage. He sees the creature killing a woman and shoots at it with a rifle. The Jotun hunts him down and seizes him. It tells him to submit, but Luke refuses and hits it with an axe. That buys him enough time to run away. Through hallucinations about Rob's death and other images, Luke manages to escape from the accursed wooded area. He then hears the Jotun roaring in fury as it cannot leave the forest, and Luke shouts back triumphantly. He walks away and soon finds a road where he sees a car coming toward him.